bursting airborne and sideways, wheels stretching through the ground, the raw, stunningly rapid, and now very aloft Chevrolet Camaro ZL1 should be a barbaric, deadly thing. Yet, in the crucial milliseconds following its oblique touchdown, it defines itself differently. Aaron Link, the ZL1's lead development engineer, adds a breath of counter-steer, stays in the gas, and carries the slide, fully committed, to the track's edge. Crimson leaves explode behind its rear diffuser, then waft to the ground in what remains of the ZL1's throat-punch exhaust note. The most powerful Camaro ever made fires a round of upshifts into the automobile and hurls itself at the next corner, unfazed. It's a hell of a way to start the day. That's the Elst, says Link, referring to the ZL1's electronically controlled limit-slip differential, which it shares with the SS1 trim for 2017. It's scenarios like that really sold us on the Elst, despite its weight penalty. The ZL1's active diff weighs 44 pounds more than the clutch-type limit-slip differential in the Camaro SS, but it's lighter than the massive 9.9-inch diff in the 5th-generation ZL1. And neither of those offered as much authority over these sorts of automotive gymnastics. GM calls this ability yaw damping and offers no shortage of data to prove it works, all of which are less convincing than 1 minute and 53 seconds on its Milford road course. That's about the time the ZL1 is capable of posting around the famed development track. Chevy won't reveal the exact time but says it's about 3 seconds quicker than the last ZL1, which ran a 1:56. The ZL1, available as a coupe and a convertible, shares with the Corvette Z06 its Herculean power plant, the supercharged 6.2-litre LT4 V8. Internally, both mills are identical, right down to the titanium intake valves and forged rods and pistons. In this latest king of Camaros, however, a conventional oil pan replaces the Z06's dry sump lubrication. Surprisingly, a lack of packaging space demanded the change. But what matters is this: 650 horsepower at 6,400 revolutions per minute and 650 pound-feet of torque at 3,600 revolutions per minute. It's all managed, orally, by a dual-mode exhaust, which is now electronically controlled rather than vacuum-actuated as it was on the last ZL1. Chevy offers 2 transmissions here, including a high-tech version of the 6-speed Tremec TR6060 that's available in the Camaro SS. A tailored gear set allows the manual transmission-equipped ZL1 to hit 60 miles per hour in first gear, while both 5th and 6th are overdrive gears. At 0.54 to 1, 6th gear is a true fuel economy cog, though the 3.73 final drive is still low enough to serve up Chevrolet's plain hole shots. But the 10-speed automatic, co-developed with Ford, is the one that's so hotly anticipated and the one we experienced from the passenger seat. Even from that chair, it's clear that it will be the go-to gearbox if minimizing lap times is a priority. Chevy engineers compared the 10-speed's shift times with those of the dual-clutch units in the 991 Porsche 911 Carrera S and the McLaren MP412C, which admittedly are not the newest iterations of those cars. The differences, though small, fall convincingly in favor of the Chevy. Here the 10-speed uses a ZL1-specific torque converter, clutch components, bearings, software, and controllers. Its 0.64 to 1/10 gear is numerically lower than what the transmission will offer in other applications. 10-speed equipped ZL1 coupes will have a 2.85 to 1 final drive ratio. Convertibles will be 2.77 to 1 and won't get the Elst. Most striking is the gearbox's ability to keep the LT4 engine almost indefinitely in the most potent portion of its rev range. When it's working hard, the 10-speed is all nervous energy, ripping through tightly spaced gears with unrelenting pace. The resultant thrust and sound are gleefully rewarding. Enough so that Link says the automatic is the component of the car that makes him most proud. It just never falls off, he says. Even at the higher speeds we see on the ring, the Nürburgring Nordschleife, where GM partially developed the ZL1, there's always a building sensation to this car's acceleration. The float-eye hollow Chevy grille badge, borrowed from the old Z28, graces a front end that is constructed almost entirely of air intakes. 4 drive modes influencing all the car's manners remain: snow, ice, tour, sport, and track. It's likely, though, that the 10-speed has crossed the don't-bother threshold when it comes to do-it-yourself self-paddle shifting. Even Link admits that it's hard to know whether to go down 3 gears or 4 in certain scenarios. But, let's face it, the days of shifting automatics yourself stopped being rewarding back when they reached 7 gears. Using drive, as Link did on our ZL1, frees up brain power for steering and braking. If you want to shift yourself, get the 6-speed. Back at Milford, a few corners later, Link shortens a bend and squares up the curb's leading edge with the ZL1's right front tyre. It's a move that should deliver a full wind-up nut shot to the spring and damper, further ventilating the already thoroughly ventilated hood. But the ZL1 shrugs off the blow and sticks unflinchingly through the remaining S's, launching us to 160 miles per hour on the front straight, which isn't really straight at all. Magnet or geological dampers, standard on a ZL1, play no small role in the car's preternatural control and are perhaps the greatest ally to the car's performance traction management system, which applies the exact torque the rear wheels are able to put down in virtually any scenario. How effective is the ZL1's PTM system? So much so that Drew Cattle, the ride and handling engineer who drove the ZL1 for its Nürburgring hot lap, relied on its reassurance through the Green Hell's 12.9 miles. Link, during our laps, drove fully unrestricted. Chevy hadn't released the ZL1's official ring lap time as of our deadline. But it did say that the new car is more than 11 seconds quicker than the previous ZL1's 7:41.27, which makes it a 7:30 or better. We've seen data logs confirming that it's 10 miles per hour faster than the old ZL1, call it about 182 miles per hour going into Tiergarten, the fastest section of the track. A mid to low 720 seems possible.